Union. My name is Herschel Daniels. We are going to bring to you everybody you have to excuse me for a second as I get this in order. All right. Friends of the African Union at FAUchamber.com. Okay. Let me give you an introduction. Friends of the African Union is an organization of the 6th region of the African Union that we acknowledge as a successor to the Treaty of 1885. There we go. There. All right, that treaty in 1885 created what is a protectorate state by 14 nations. And then Africa organized in 1963. So when she organized, 50 years ago, in 1963, it was called the Organization of African Unity. Well, that organization in '99 morphed into the African Union, which today in 2014 is headed by Dr. Zuma. Now, what she has been able to do is to put in place a program of change. And then she held a consultation with the African diaspora on the 8th through the 10th of October 2013 in New York. And you've got an invitation, okay? It's in your mail. It's an invitation to everybody. You can make an invite when you come online. Friends of the African Union is at FAUchamber.net, FAUchamber.net, or friendsoftheafricanunion.com. And you'll see our legacy site. So what we did is that we worked specifically now for the betterment of the 1.4 billion people of the African Union. That's 300 million people in the diaspora and 1.1 billion people on the continent. There are 50 million of us here in the United States. 44 million of us come from the slavery of 150 years ago. Because this time, 150 years ago, we had over 100,000 Africans wearing Union blue, defeating the Confederacy. But no one can give you this doubt that without the participation of the Africans, that the Union would have won. All right. All right. Let's get some people who are joining. All right. All right. All right, I can hear you, Cass. All right. And so what I am doing on this broadcast is to build an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa driven and managed by its citizens and a dynamic force in the international arena that we think that the African Union and do with the help of the 50 million people in America who are part of the African Union, who last year earned over $1 trillion. So we're doing this in line with the declaration of Africa's political leadership last year at the 50th year anniversary, and America's political leadership as evidenced by the President of the United States. And when in 2012 we put out a new policy for Africa, we were there. In 2013, when Africa answered through its 50-year forward-looking plan. And in 2014, when we gave Africa on May 14th an answer to the African Solidarity Initiative, our answer for a 50-year plan based in America of quantitative easing, $1.25 trillion, asking for the funds necessary for Main Street that Wall Street got. And it's all built on what Africa put as 8 key areas. Not only African identity and renaissance, not only the struggle against colonialism and the right to self-determination, but includes an integration of an African agenda for social and economic development, an African agenda for peace and security, democratic governance, and determining Africa's self-destiny and place in the world. Okay, so that's us. That's what we're doing. That's Friends of the African Union. So we're opening this up so that everybody can participate, ask questions. All right. And I got somebody who's calling, but they're calling on the wrong line. Okay. 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 Can you hear me? Yellow. All right. People can hear me. Can hear you. Yeah. Casa?
Yes.
Okay, so you can hear me. Okay, I was like, okay. All right. Did you have any questions?
I just jumped in. I don't even know where you actually at for it right now.
All right. Well, I'm opening it up to the public. I'm able to invite public or extended circles. Okay. So I should have started this off as a public. Okay, so it will not allow me to go to the public. Okay, so you can make invitations from your side. I'm making an assumption, okay. But while you have me on the line right now, you got any questions? This is being streamed. It is being set up, so it is being streamed via YouTube. Okay. So, did you have any questions that you wanted to get on the record? I've got to be somebody calling you. Okay. Did you see the link to share?
Share?
Yeah, up top. Okay, you can go up and you can share. Okay, over on the left-hand side, you can share this.
Cool.
Now I sent an invitation. There should be an invitation with everybody should have an invitation.
They not ready.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Keep coming with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Trying to get the voices of Africa in. It won't let me get it.
Don't let them call.
I just sent you an invite. I'm not gonna do it.
Okay. You will please, bro.
Now you gotta press this.
So if anybody's watching this, okay, other than us, yes, this is us playing around with Google, getting used to using the Google.
What's your Gmail?
Okay, you Cincinnati. Triple zero.
Ooh, I know. No.
All right.
Let me look at that.
Oh, there you go.
If something's turning around that shit.
All right.
Go back to which?
No. You said how that? Yeah.
OG.
I think there's enough people already on the call. Is what it is. And the last so many.
No. There's only two of us on the call.
Yeah, it's only two of them.
Okay. I'm trying to connect. It won't let me. Watch.
All right. It won't let you. No?
You had to.
Okay, I see you clearly. Okay, I see Carlton.
Oh, there go Carlton.
Yeah, okay, somebody else just joined us. Okay, Carlton, there you go.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Okay. Yep. All right. All right, so we've got 3 people on the call. We've got 3 people and a lot of people. Good. Hey, Carlton?
Hey, Carlton.
Are you coming near here, or?
He
What
called.
I was going to say is that,
I left off, so I'm still here though.
okay, yeah, what I was going to say is that,
I just keep going out.
because Carlton could walk around
You asked him.
the FAU.
I'm getting some room that way. Going to office.
Not letting anybody. Okay.
Where am I? Kill both.
All right.
Where you
Carlton,
going at?
yeah,
What's that?
Carlton. All right. What I want you to
Yes,
do is go over to the computer room. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And the communications room, and when you get over there, I'm going to show people what we're working off of.
Yes, sir. You're saying the technology.
Yeah. No, I just want you to take a video picture. Yeah. No, I just want to take your phone, take it over, and show people.
Yes, sir. I'm on
Okay. All right. So what FAU did was to locate itself in the Regis office centers because they are in over 100 nations. They have over, okay. Really? Turn my signal off. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, Regis centers have over 2,000 locations. And Brother Carlton, okay, is in just a second going to show us. Okay, so I must be having bandwidth problems. Okay, yeah, pull your thumb out of it, and what you see there is the nucleus of a network that spans the globe. And so you can go to any one of over 2,000 locations around the world when FAU holds a conference, okay, and that you will be able to go into a conference center and be able to take a look at the next generation of networks. And those networks then will be enabled that we're able to drill through those networks because of our expertise. All right. And of course, that's my grandson, if he will just get out of the way of the picture. All right. So what you're getting right there is a Cisco managed global network that spans the globe. And in particular, it gives us the reach, that immediate reach, that we're in the process of building up our own infrastructure based on patent number 5577042 that provides you with the access to interoperability. All right, we're going to try this once again. Okay, but before we do that, we're going to see.
I'm back on.
Okay.
Yeah, I lost the signal, and got the computer right here.
Yeah, I think what's happening is that we have we're straining the video, okay, of the network,
If you need to
the wireless network
computer
here.
room outside, or if you could use, just take it.
Okay, yeah, I think we're straining the network here, which is the wireless network, which is interesting. Okay, because that wireless network is one of the things that we're turning on. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do, let me see if I can post this network. Yeah, I know what I can do. We can give people the link to the network that they can watch it. Okay. 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 All right. That's over there. So, Carlton, you're the only one who can get on, huh? Okay. It is what it is. All right. So, Carlton, you still here?
Yeah, Carson's in the back. We're using his phone.
Oh, okay. Yep. Any taking any and all questions. Okay. And let's see if we can. Wow. Can't believe it won't let anybody else on. Okay, let me see if we can get Mike on.
What's over here? You see me?
You stand right there and everybody can see. Am I talking to somebody else? No.
You call him.
Yeah? That's you. Yeah. And you got a Durante? A boy doing that? Okay. Testing out how, yes, exactly. Uh-huh. Okay. And, you do that around your grandmother? You know what she would do? Okay. So, that's okay if you do it around?
Oh.
Okay, child rearing 101. Okay. All right. somehow, Mike, we're not able. We got Carlton. Okay, and we have my grandson. All right. Wow.
What happened to everybody else?
I'm about to send them the link the hard way. All right. Now there we go. All right. So I just sent everybody, okay, the link to connect. All right. And we'll see what happens now. Okay. All right. Clear picture for a second. Okay, Durante.
Yeah.
You may be next generation. Yeah, you may be next generation, but yeah, give the phone back to Carlton.
Carlton not here. Carlton not here.
Oh, okay. Give the, is Ahmad not able to get on?
I don't know where they went outside.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, we're on. Ask any questions. Let's see if we get some questions. Otherwise, I'll read the background of the African Union and the issues that we faced about this 50-year agenda of Africa. Okay, you know, a lot of people ask, why is it 50 years? And you know, the choice was symbolic. Okay, in the context of the 50th year anniversary in the establishment of the Organization of African Union, and the need for the continent to take stock of its achievements and set the long vision and goals. Hey, Mike, you're on.
Yes, sir. Checking in.
Cool. All right, Durante, close your mouth. You're going to be on the call. Okay, everybody's going to see it and see it in Durante's mouth, and your grandmother is going to see it. All right. So this is open. Mike, pass it around that link. Okay. All right, and you know, the whole idea behind this is the series is to answer any questions that people may have about Friends of the African Union.
Oh, hold on. Let me get it.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, that didn't work well. Okay, I guess I'll be just the Alfred Hitchcock profile. All right. So you want to introduce yourself so people know who you are?
Yeah, sure. Saint Michael from Saint Michael Solutions. Joint venture partner with Friends of the African Union under the company MAM. That's Multimedia Advertising and Marketing. I'm the chief of operations for that. We're here to let everybody know about the good news. Of course, the creation of the 6th region of Africa. And the Friends of the African Union Secretariat to that. We're here to spread the message using mass communication infrastructure that we have, our marketing, our resources, and advertising strategies, among other things. But that's the bulk of it right there.
Right. And so Mike joined us last year when we were moving forward in regards to this diasporan consultation on the 50th year plan that we did, okay, and it was based on the declaration of the Global African Diaspora Summit of 2012, that the declaration said, "We, the heads of state and government of the African Union, the Caribbean, and South America, recognizing the importance of the heads of state and government from the Caribbean community, South and Latin America, and representatives of the African diaspora, expressing our appreciation to His Excellency President Jacob Zuma, the government and people of the Republic of South Africa and the African Union for the warm reception and hosting and conducting this summit." The summit was the declaration, reading from, but it was the first ever global African diasporan summit held by the African Union, by the heads of political leaders, the heads of state and government of the African Union, along with Caribbean and South American African. We've taken cognizance of the dialogue carried out between Africans on the continent and representatives of the African diaspora in various regions of the world, including North America, South and Latin America, Europe, and elsewhere. Recalling the constitutive act of the African Union that is guided by a common vision of a united and strong Africa based on a partnership between the governments and all segments of society in order to strengthen cohesion and the solidarity among its people. Recalling the struggle of the founding fathers and combatants for the Pan-Africanism in Africa as well as in the diaspora. Also recalling the protocol on amendments to the constitutive act of the African Union adopted by the first extraordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State Governments in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia in January 2003, and in particular Article 3Q, which invites the African diaspora to participate as an important component in the building of the African Union. Now, they further recall relevant African Union decisions, including decisions on the development of the African Diaspora Initiative adopted by the Third Ordinary Session of the Executive Council in Mozambique in July 2003, on the African Diaspora Process adopted by the Eighth Ordinary Session of the Executive Council in January 2006, and the decision on the first African Diaspora Ministerial Conference adopted by the 20th Ordinary Session of the Executive Council in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia in January 2008. And for the Executive Council and their activities of the African Union in decision, which were adopted by the 11th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of the Union in Egypt in 2008, and regards to the African Diaspora Summit issued a decision on the 16th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of the Union in January 2011 on the roadmap for the Diaspora Summit, including the convening a technical experts meeting in Pretoria, South Africa on February 2011, and the decision of the 17th Ordinary Assembly of the African Union on convening a second ministerial conference on the margins of the United Nations General Assembly in New York in September 2011, as well as a decision endorsing the outcome and conclusions of the second ministerial conference held in New York on September 2011. And recalling the commemoration in 2007 of the bicentennial of the trafficking in Africa, an obligation to remember the legacy of history, particularly the era of slavery and colonization and the enforced separation of African people as a result of that experience, as well as the Declaration of the United Nations in 2011 as the year of the people of African descent, and endorsing the initiative led by member states of the African Union, the Caribbean Community, in other states in the international community for the establishment of a permanent memorial at the United Nations to honor the victims of slavery and the transatlantic slave trade and fulfillment of paragraph 101 of the 2001 Durban Declaration. In expressing considerations and contributions made to the voluntary trust fund established in this regard, taking into account the need to put African history in its proper perspective and harness this toward rebuilding the global African family, recognizing the need to build sustainable partnerships between African continent and the African diaspora through sustainable dialogue and effective collaboration with governments and peoples of different regions of the world in which the diaspora populations are located. Cognizant of the fact that culture and identify and inform all facets of development, acknowledging the need to celebrate and preserve the shared heritage between Africa and the peoples of African descent and the diaspora, bearing in mind that the African diaspora represents a historic and evolving experience which calls for an approach that is sensitive to the specifics of the different regions, affirming the need to promote South-South cooperation as a framework for enhancing mutual development as well as Pan-African solidarity, reaffirming the importance of women and youth as important pillars of our society that should be mainstreamed in all diaspora discourses and actions, lauding the efforts undertaken thus far to support Africa and the African diaspora process, including organizational efforts, measures, and strategies pursued by the African Union, and taking into account the first and second conference of intellectuals of Africa and the diaspora held in Dakar, Senegal, and Salvador de Bahia, Brazil in 2004 and 2006, respectively. The outcomes of the first AU South Africa Caribbean Conference held in Kingston, Jamaica in 2005, and the various regional consultative conferences held in different regions of the world in 2007 to consolidate the results. Noting with appreciation the work of the ministerial meeting which took place in Madrid, South Africa, Midrand, South Africa from 16 to 18 November 2007, and the technical experts meeting in Pretoria on February 2011, second ministerial conference held in New York, USA 24/2011, as well as the third ministerial conference held in Pretoria, South Africa on 23 May 2012, convinced of the need to build on these efforts and outcomes as the basis for establishing a solid foundation for the rejuvenation of the global African family as an instrument of wider renaissance, realizing the imperative of a sustained and coordinated approach and ownership of the African diaspora-related programs and projects so as to promote their effective implementation and impact, commit to cooperate in the political, economic, and social areas outlined in this program of action and implementation and follow-up modalities. Then we come into the meat of the matter that lasts over 10 pages and that we will be broadcasting on follow-up broadcasts. But that the summit was approved. And the Assembly, which is the highest ranking organization in the African Union, takes, on 16 July 2012, takes note of the outcome and declaration of the Global African Diaspora Summit, commends the Commission and the government of South Africa for sterling work and active cooperation that led to the success of the summit, recognizes the importance of the contribution of member states, leaders, and people of the African diaspora community worldwide, and friends and partners of the AU in attaining the objectives of the AU Global African Diaspora Summit and its outcomes, which are reflected in the declaration, its program, plan of action, and implementation mechanism. The short of this is that they gave us 5 tasks to do. those 5 tasks, Friends of the African Union has taken upon itself to organize work with all the other diasporan organizations who want to work together for their implementation. We look forward to those joining us on these calls as we now implement them on an ongoing basis. Thank you very much. We are open for questions. And do me a favor, Durante, go get me some water. Make yourself useful. Go get me a glass of water. So, Mike, what we're going to do on follow-up questions on this, okay, we're going to read the script, okay, from what was written in 2012, 2013.
Okay.
And we'll read off of it and on a concert basis. But on the rest of this call, I'll just take questions because I need to get some water, etc. All right, I wasn't ready to do the reading on this 15 pages.
Right.
I'm going to share the wealth.
Gotcha.
All right. And by the way, if you're looking at that picture of me that's on the right now, yeah, that was NABVETS, the National Association of Black Veterans, Chapter 68, the Cincinnati Black Brigade. And the hat's a little bit off-center because we retired by that time when we took that picture. Okay, I'm going to change that picture, but there is a Black Veterans Service Organization in America called NABVETS, and starting tomorrow, the National Command Authority is meeting in New York, and there are hundreds of Black Americans who are ranking officers and such in that organization. And we work, there's over 1,000 members, and we work together to make changes.
So with the 13th, now. So I understand we have a meeting with Obama on the 13th of September.
Yeah, September 13th, there's an immigration meeting between the Black community and President Obama to talk about immigration based on what's going on the immigration bill.
Yeah, there was some feedback.
Go ahead.
No, there was some feedback from, I think, from Carlton's mic. But in terms of that, is that a closed meeting? Is it an open? Is it a televised situation?
Well, we're going to try and televise it. It is a closed by invitation meeting, but we plan to hold a meeting, a sidebar meeting at the same time.
Okay. So
we plan to go in on the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then have the meeting on the 13th, and then have a press conference afterwards.
Okay. So, would you want me to send out a press release or anything like that?
We will. Okay. After this weekend, we will.
Okay.
That's why we're experimenting right now with the technology to get it ready for this weekend. Yao is going up to New York to be part of the march, no matter what, representing FAU and SRDC. So we will have somebody at the march.
Okay, good. So are we gonna? Do we have to, I guess, get some type of secret service clearance or anything like that before 13th, or secret security?
Yeah, for those who are going to be in the meeting, yeah. Okay, and you will give your name, your social security, driver's license. Okay, those sorts of things. I plan to get Free Citizen, our magazine. Okay, we're getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Oh.
Okay. for this, yeah, we'll be putting together the team that both will have our magazine, Freed Citizen, produced in part by MAM. And we will also have those who will be inside as participants, and then like you and others will have the video coverage, the news coverage, and the written coverage.
Okay. That'll work.
Okay. Anything else that we should cover in public? We're going to end this, and now we know we can get it to work.
Yeah.
We'll be regularly scheduling these. I guess we'll start on Friday.
Okay.
With the fashion, art, music, and entertainment. Okay. All right.
I think that's Carlton.
Yeah, that they're trying to get a hold of me otherwise. Okay. Yeah. Well, all right. You know, it's a video call from Carlton. Okay. All right. So we've covered this. We know how this works. Okay. What I want to walk people through, okay, is where we're at, and why we're here. Okay. Let me see if this will work. Yeah, I think so. All right. Yeah, it will. Okay. Here we go. We're going to give people a quick run through here. I'm going to share my screen. I think I can share my screen. Okay. All right. So what it'll allow us to do, okay, it'll allow us to capture. Yeah, okay. All right. So yeah, this will allow me to share my screen, and okay, so we can capture pictures. Okay, someone's video. Okay, you can't take a picture because someone on the video call is blocked. Okay. All right, let me see if I can share. Okay, screen share. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Start screen share. Okay. Can you see that?
Yep.
All right, so that's what we turned in to the African Union on October 10th, 2013. Now, what we had did is we had finished the meeting with the consultation from the 8th through the 10th, and the meeting had ended on the 10th at noon. They took us to lunch. But I called everybody to come back to the African Union headquarters and said for those who wanted to come back to talk about creating our own relationship between the African Union and the diaspora based out of America, which meant the 50 million big, bad black people in America earned $1 trillion by themselves. And Africans, 1.1 billion people, earn $2 trillion. So what I proposed is, based on Friends of the African Union, is a new, at that time, civil society enterprise founded to work for the benefit of the African Union, the African diaspora, and their host countries. Well, we're 50 million people in the USA. That's our host country. Okay. Now, like Malcolm said, yeah, Plymouth Rock, we didn't meet Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock may have landed on us, but in 2013, we dug ourselves out of that rock and turned around, and we found out we were getting $1 trillion a year, okay, in revenue. Over $850 billion that we got as individuals, over $30 billion in our institutions and NGOs and churches, and over $120 billion in our businesses. When Africa itself only does $200 billion worth of trade among itself. So FAU, a year later, but on time, will on August 19th support the creation of a multimedia print and online publication devoted to showcasing bold and innovative ideas for Africa and the African American community, over 1 billion people strong with $3 trillion in income. The USA and Africa. It'll feature President Obama's initiatives and work that he has done. It will feature our work that we've done. It will feature stories of human services, health services, social services, housing, erasing the digital divide, business support, that MBE is minority business, that SBE is small business. There's 1 million of us in the USA who fit that category who are African, as well as public information and the education services, with FAU having a goal by 2030 of serving as distance learning infrastructure for 500 million Africans, and global change partnership, okay? And so Friends of the African Union is inspired by the noble ideas which guided the founding fathers of our global organization. The editors obviously wrote that. And the foregoing generations of Pan-Africanists and their determination to promote unity, solidarity, liberty, justice, cohesion, and cooperation among the peoples of Africa, African states, and the African diaspora. Now, in case you don't know who this is Sister Dr. Dorothy Hyatt up there in the left-hand corner. Mm-hmm. That's Nelson Mandela, in case people don't know who he is. He visited America in 1990 and caused a wave of bringing people together of all classes. That is the president of Ghana right there, who some say had the future of Africa in his hand, and it has a guiding voice of Africa for the Africans. And then there's Dr. Martin Luther King. And then you have both Marcus Garvey and Du Bois there. Okay. And what we're basing it on is African Solidarity Initiative that encourages, motivates, and empowers African countries to offer assistance to African countries. Okay. And what we base our authority on is the Treaty of 1885. And the Treaty of 1885 was created in Berlin and signed by a general act of the conference in Berlin by the representatives of Great Britain, Australia, Hungary, Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Portugal, Russia, Spain, Sweden, and Norway. Turkey represented the Ottoman Empire and the United States. And what they all met around was a defeated Africa. Now, you know, one of the reasons people say, well, why is Russia there back in 1885? Because they were a friend of Ethiopia. And Ethiopia had hired Russians and Belgians to provide them with the training, and army military training that let them stand up to the Europeans. Mm-hmm. And so on this, this treaty said the freedom of trade in the basin of the Congo. All right. 2, the slave trade. Yeah, 1885, the slave trade. 3, the neutrality of the territories in the basin of the Congo. 4, navigation of the Congo. 5, navigation of the Niger. And 6, rules of future occupation on the coast of the African continent. As an American company, we petition our government to redress of a situation where we find over 10 million human beings have been killed in Africa since 1998, and that the killing may escalate without our action. And our authority under this treaty, we act and we petition, okay, on May 25th, 2014. Furthermore, Friends of the African Union accepts that under the African Union's Constitutive Act that the right of the African Union to intervene in a member state pursuant to a decision of the African Union's Assembly, i.e. the highest body in the African Union, in respect to grave circumstances, mainly war crimes, genocide, and crimes against humanity. And whereas we at FAU will petition the United States of America to address those issues. We do so on September 13th, 2014. Because, see, currently the African Union is made up of 54 African states, and the only all-African state not in the AU is Morocco. Okay, and so this is, the AU was formed in 1963. And in 1999, the AU made a decision to create a successor organization that was implemented on 9 July 2002 as a successor. And it's called the African Union. And the most important decisions of the AU are made of the Assembly of the African Union, a semi-annual meeting of the heads of state and government of its member state. The Secretariat is based in Ethiopia. And that shows you, for the leader of the chairperson is Dr. Zuma, a woman, a medical doctor. That's her. Mm-hmm. Revolutionary from South Africa, who previously was married to the current president of South Africa, but is not now. So she's, you know, been in charge of this road that we've been on since 1914 to 2012. And that Africa, we called the third extraordinary session of the Executive Council of the AU in May 2003, which pronounced the importance of the African diaspora as a continent to the AU and its processes. And so the definition of the diaspora, according to the Executive Council of the AU, considers the African diaspora consisting of, and I quote, peoples of African origin living outside the continent, irrespective of their citizenship and nationality, are willing to contribute to the development of the continent and the building of the African Union, close quote. So, as the Friends of the African Union, okay, we last year split off. We started out as an unincorporated association in the state of Ohio on January 16, 2012, and with a brand created by McGraw-Daniels. And we spun off that brand into two separate organizations. First, FAU, Friends of the African Union, as a new nonprofit 501c3 with a fiduciary. And the other as a Chamber of Commerce who starts operations with a joint venture with the International Black Chamber of Commerce last October. Okay, so that that Chamber of Commerce and that FAU, when we went into that meeting, had the appropriate infrastructure. And the reason we had that is because of those 5 projects we've been assigned by the African Union. Create a Peace Corps, basically, African Diaspora Volunteer Corps, people who have skills to volunteer in Africa. Create that skill database of the businesses who wants to do business or professionals in Africa. The Institute for Remittances, based on the 30 million Africans who don't live on the continent, who are from the African continent directly, who send back $60 billion a year directly and carry back $120 billion. And think of this in the context that all aid in Africa for every place is $42 billion a year. And there's over $180 billion that's carried back. So why is the $42 billion wagging the tail that is the continent? An investment fund and a marketplace for African development. That's what the Chamber is about. Now, we in America under FAU, what we did is in 2013 under Kwanzaa Accords, we designed a solution for Main Street, not Wall Street. Okay, and what we defined for ourselves as a creative cooperative economic private-public partnership, where we are speaking for ourselves and asking our President, Obama, to direct our government to create a modification and/or new treasury program through which we will facilitate the repair and/or new building of leadership and environmental designed homes that will create jobs and a new life for their residents and for those Americans in need of employment, while supporting environmental justice. On the FAU collective call is where we did design the framework to build and maintain our community together and our brothers and sisters in Africa. Furthermore, we said we will address the needs of 1 million businesses hurt by Sandy and during the economic meltdown of the past 7 years through a 50-year investment trust that could be as much as $250 billion by 2020. By June 19, 2013, Friends of the African Union was launched. It's FAU Fame, FAU ASI STEM Partnership, FAU Sports was launched later in the year. FAU Green Build is being finalized and launched over the next week, and FAU Global Solutions has been launched. Furthermore, we promote the creation of public-private partnership as a special purpose enterprise for infrastructure like our sewers, water, and power lines that could have a $300 billion investment starting in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Texas, New Mexico, California, Nevada, and Florida. So people wonder how big Africa is. It's so big that it contains China, India, the United States, and Europe. So next March 25th through 28th, we'll be in Washington, D.C. at the National Community Reinvestment Coalition meeting and have an extraordinary session at the next days after that weekend. And the reason we're saying that we're a member of NCRC because that joins us with over 600 organizations. And so we worked our way through and to the being Africa helping Africa. We in the African Union 6th region in the USA can help. The way we help is, in one way, is using McGraw-Daniels, my company, and partners with others like St. Mike and St. Michael Solutions and MAM and others to create a global network related to 1,000 joint ventures with experienced experts and established enterprises and organizations like my fellow members of the African Scientific Institute Fellowship to better enable us to provide a broad range of services around the world and focus on Africa. That's us. That's what we do. Welcome to Friends of the African Union. Okay. What we will have is more people joining us. And are you seeing this right now? Are you seeing?
Yes. I saw the whole thing.
Okay. Well, you're seeing the me calling up the document, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. All right. So we're located at 201 5th Street, Suite 1900. Cincinnati, Ohio 45202. You can go to fauchamber.net and it'll take you to FAU Chamber Weebly. Okay. And so that site there, if you go to fauchamber.net, okay, you're able to do that. And let's see, it is going to take us to the website. All right. Yeah, I took you off because my grandson has it. Also, we have a young lady kind of out there who owns a lead company. She's also the assistant for the things he's doing. All right, so I'll be out in just a second. I'm gonna finish this up. Okay. All right. The restroom. All right. By 2015, we'll bring together, 1 million African businesses and professionals. You can go to FAU chamber.net, okay, and you'll get this website, and it will tell us about, we're broadcasting right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. All right, so that when you go to the Chamber of Friends of the African Union Chamber of Commerce, we're just like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, only newer. Okay, that is our seal right there in the middle. We give you a little perspective on Africa, okay, how big it is, and what we do, okay, and so together is we launched this initiative last November. We have at our core over 50 businesses that we're working together. And people ask, why Africa? Well, other than being African, it's a market. It's a market of over 1.1 billion people who have at least 100 million people who are equivalent to America's middle class. And the other 700 million who's in poverty, we take what Nelson Mandela said to heart. Poverty is not an accident. Like slavery and apartheid, it is man-made and can be removed by the actions of human beings. I've been down this track since 1984 with the African Development Foundation, then later serving under the Honorable David Morrow and the Senior Honorary Consul to the Republic of Guinea to the United States. We didn't serve the United States in Africa. I did that earlier. Later in life, I served under David. We served Africa, okay? And we did this without having these facts, that the African Union's global market is 1.4 billion people in 6 regions worldwide. $4 trillion, okay? And so what we're looking at is working with people who want to work together. Go to FAUchamber.net if you're one of those people, and you will be able to see how you can work with us. It's a site that's growing every day, and I look forward to your input. Okay, that's FAUchamber.net, and it will take you to our working site at weebly.com. We are still waiting. There is actually going to be launched a web infrastructure for Africa, and we are less than 2 weeks away from being able to be there. Okay, and well, let me ask. Let me pause here for a second, see if there's any questions from anybody. I know we have FAUers on the site, so they know pretty much these answers. Okay, but if anybody else has any questions, now is a good time to answer. All right. Well, I guess with that being said, then we've covered everything. All right, and we're going to call it a day.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right, and we are going to make this. We're going to work it out so by this weekend we've got it down. Okay, Mike?
All right, no problem.
No problem. All right, ending call.
All right.
All right. All right. This doesn't end the call. It says end broadcast.